Hello everybody, welcome back to Rad Guild. This is the YouTube channel for the Radix Programmers Guild. I'm your host Rock Howard, and today we're going to be visiting the Revup tool once again, but we're going to be looking at some advanced usage capabilities and then a brand new power user mode that I think you'll like. Along the way we're going to be looking at a candy shop example written in Scripto, and that's what we're looking at on the screen right here. Candy shop, and this example was created for the purposes of uploading to the community repo that Radix is sponsoring. You can actually upload your own Scripto example and get paid to do so. I wrote a blog post recently with all the details of how to get set up to do that, and in fact this candy shop is very incomplete. It's up there, but it's very incomplete. And I put a whole list of things that you could do to improve it, and that turn it into your own example if you want. So I'll have links in the description box about that blog post to tell you how to get involved with this kind of get paid to try out Scripto program. It's kind of cool. All right, so let's go with Revup. Just to remind you from last time, the typical use of Revup is you initialize it using the -i function, and it will ask you what is the name of the first function call you want to make after the initial setup resim commands. So in our case, that's going to be candy shop, because that's the name of the blueprint, right? And then we're going to call this new constructor. So that'll be the function we call. It doesn't need any arguments, so there you go, that's all we need. And it just returns a single component back, so we're going to call that component, yes. All right, so it created the default config file. There it is, revup.json, and we can now simply invoke that by just saying revup. And it invokes it, and it runs it, publishes our code, runs the commands, and in fact returns our component here. And then the extra special wonderfulness of this program is it captures all those environment variables from your outputs from the various resim commands that you do. So you can just source this, and now you're set to go. And you can continue on using resim with these environment variables all set up. You save a ton of time. So that's the simplest use case, but there's more. You could actually save this file, this revup.json file. You can save that, and in fact I've already done that here. I created a version of it. Well, let's just do this. Let's just save this. We'll say we're going to move revup.json. We're going to call it revup new.json. All right, so that's the one that invokes the new constructor. I have another one that I created a while ago that I renamed revup initial supply.json. So it's doing the same thing, but instead of invoking this new constructor, there's another constructor called initial supply, which creates a whole bunch of candies, sticks them in the candy vaults. And so that's a whole separate constructor for this same blueprint. So I have two different revup files, and now I can just say, I can just run either one. I can just do revup initial supply, and it'll go through and run those instructions. And there you see all the various candies that it has set up for us in the candy shop. Or I can go back and I can run the other one. In both cases, it has a reset instruction going on, and then it republishes. But that all goes pretty fast. So that's cool. You could set up your different files and just have them ready to go. So this is a kind of a neat mode, and we started playing with it and realizing, you know, it would be even cooler if the users could have a little better control over these files rather than just have to deal with these JSON files. And so we came up with a brand new format, which I'm going to show you now. And it's called the rev format. .rev file is what we typically save it as, although you can name it whatever you want. And here's what it looks like. It really looks like some comments, obviously, at the top here. But after that, it just looks like resim commands. The only difference is obviously you don't say resim in front of each one of them. And then it has this arrow, and that's telling you what names should be used for the entities that are returned by the call. So when you create a new account, it's going to save the account pub key, environment variables, and you call it again, you can save it to account 2 and pub 2. You get the idea. It's saving all. You can specify what are the names of these environment variables. And you can put comments all in this so it can be very clear. So now, this is doing the same thing that the Candy Shop New did, but we can invoke this one, and we use R for the Revup, the advanced Revup capability. And this one is called Candy Shop _new .rev for rev file. And there we go. It's doing the same stuff. It's very cool. Now, I find these files much easier to edit and understand and get my mitts around it. In fact, at this point, I didn't even have to source the environment variable. I can call another one that just takes up where the last one left off. So this is now calling some methods. So we can just invoke that R here, and this one is CS more test. Not a great name, but there. Now it's running this test where it makes a gumball and it gets free samples. Then it shows the account, and there in fact is the gumball that we got as a free sample. So that's very cool. And you know, you can put these two together so that it does the function and then it calls the methods. That's a simple text edit to just combine those two files. So you can make longer tests more easily. Here's one that's set up to do the other constructor, the initial supply constructor, and it's actually a more complicated set of things that get returned. So it's actually easier to deal with to just have this in a file ready to go. And then just to show you where you can go with this stuff, if you really think about it, I've combined all of them, both constructors, into one file. So it does the reset, it calls the first set of functions and methods, and then it does another reset and calls the second set. So it's essentially doing your smoke test for you. So you can get a whole bunch of these going and have your smoke test ready to go so that when you make changes to your blueprint, you can make sure you haven't broken anything. So this is the what we think of as the power user mode for Revup, and I hope you like it. I hope you see that as being pretty exciting. For us, it just has sparked our imagination, and now we've got a whole bunch of new ideas about where we can take this stuff into the realm of visual programming and Web3 style deployments and so forth, all based on the Radix simulator. So you're going to see a lot about that in the future. So I guess that's going to cover it for this video. Again, look in the description, the show notes for details about how you can get involved with this program to make money by, or actually you're making XRD tokens by creating Radix examples with Scripto. You can also find out how to reach me and how to reach the guild, how to reach our forum, which is free and open. We have 340 members now in our Rust and Scripto forum learning how to program with this stuff. So you can join us there, and I hope you do. So that's it for this one. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.